subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to be updated on new content. Alright, so what is this video going to be about? This video is going to be about Ma'at energy. Who is Ma'at and what is the importance of Ma'at? So one thing we have to realize about Ma'at, right? So she's a precursor to karma. Everyone understands karma, you know, do as unto others as you know, you do unto yourself, you know, act right and things gonna be right. You know what I mean? Now, Ma'at. Anyone who studies Kemet, who understands Kemetic spirituality, understand that Ma'at, no one to play with. Ma'at is literally one of the Kemetic deities that me personally, I'm like, keep my scales balanced. Now, what does that mean? So, Ma'at is the goddess of truth, justice, and balance, and she is the balancer of the scales. If you know, in the American justice system or in justice systems all over the world, there's always a woman who is blindfolded, who holds the scales, to, you know, which means to balance of the scales means that justice should, like I said, it should have no eyes. It should be fair all around. But looking through history, we know it's not. Okay, so, you know, just have to throw that out there. But keep in mind, you know, one reason why when it comes to Ma'at that everybody needs to understand is that, do you not understand that when you do people wrong, when you truly do people wrong, and you know in your heart is wrong, Ma'at is like, oh yeah? For real? Okay, bet. Oh, you want to do that person wrong? You want to create that bad energy? Okay, cool. Say less, because I'm about to bless that person. I'm about to get you for your deeds. I'm about to get you for your deeds because you want to be that bad person. The thing is, this is why it is so important to treat everyone the way you want to be treated. If you have done someone wrong and your life is in a chaotic mode and is in chaos right now and you always going through it, keep in mind it's because you have probably done some people wrong, and this is Ma'at balancing your scales. There is a toll that always has to be paid with her. Now, that could be a good thing or that could be a bad thing. If you did, you know, someone wrong in the past, you stole some money, you did this, what you think about to happen to you? You think you about to be blessed? You
Ma'at is a concept that symbolizes the ancient Egyptian ideas about balance, harmony, morality, law, order, truth and justice. Ma'at also took the form of a goddess who personified these essential concepts. The goddess also governed the seasons and the stars. Ancient Egyptians also believed the goddess exerted an influence over those deities who collaborated to impose order on chaos at the precise moment of primal creation. Ma'at's divine opposite was Fit, the goddess of chaos, violence, evildoing and injustice. Ma'at initially appeared during Egypt's Old Kingdom, c. 2613 to 2181 BCE, period. However, she is believed to have been worshipped well before this in an earlier form. Ma'at is shown in her anthropomorphic form of a winged woman, wearing an ostrich feather on her head. Alternatively, a simple white ostrich feather symbolizes her. Ma'at's feather played a central role in the Egyptian concept of the afterlife. The ceremony of the weighing of the heart of the soul, when the deceased's heart of the soul was weighed against the feather of truth on the scales of justice, determined a soul's fate. Facts about Ma'at. Ma'at lies at the heart of ancient Egypt's social and religious ideals. It symbolized harmony and balance, truth and justice, law and order. Ma'at was also the name given to the ancient Egyptian goddess who personified these concepts and oversaw the stars as well as the season. The ancient Egyptians believed the goddess Mat influenced the primal deities who joined forces to impose order on the tumultuous chaos at the instant of creation. Mat was opposed in her work by Thut, the goddess governing violence, chaos, injustice and evil. Eventually, the Ra, the king of the gods, absorbed Mat role at the heart of all creation. Egypt's pharaohs styled themselves as the lords of Mat. Origin and significance. Ra or Atum, the sun god, was believed to have created Mat at the moment of creation when Nun's primordial waters parted and the Benben, or first dry mound of land, rose with Ra astride it, thanks to Heka's invisible magical power. In the instant Ra spoke the world into being, Mat was birthed. Mat's name is translated as that which is straight. This connotes harmony, order and justice. Mat's principles of balance and harmony suffused this act of creation, causing the world to function rationally and with purpose. The concept
Ma'at was the Egyptian goddess of truth, justice, harmony and balance. She is a rare case in Egyptian mythology, in that she was both a person and an idea, the very concept of truth and justice that the people of Egypt strive to live by. She is weaved into the fabric of many core elements of ancient Egypt, and yet remains less well known than some of her more famous counterparts from the pantheon of gods and goddesses. Ma'at was born in the moment that the sun god Ra emerged from the chaotic, primordial waters of Nun, creating the world. She is generally considered to have no mother, but to be the daughter of Ra. She personified order, justice and harmony, and at first the universe was filled with the spirit of Ma'at. She became responsible for upholding these values across the land against the rising tide of disorder, evil and chaos. Her struggle was great, and it became the duty of all Egyptians, from beggar to pharaoh, to uphold the values of Ma'at, thus helping her to keep evil at bay. She played a key role in sustaining the land, even joining Ra on his daily ride across the sky, helping him plot a safe course to avoid danger and bring light to the world. As one half of her persona was focused on upholding the values of goodness, so it made sense that the other half was responsible for judgment, and in perhaps her most important role, she would decide the fate of those that had passed into death, determining their acceptance into the afterlife. A scale of judgment was used to weigh a person's heart against the white feather of Ma'at, the symbol of the goddess. If your heart was lighter than the feather, you were judged to have lived a good life, following the principles of Ma'at, and pending the agreement of Osiris, were accepted into the field of reeds. But if your heart weighed more than the feather, it was immediately fed to the monster Ammut, and you would cease to exist. Such was the power of this legend in ancient Egypt. But although you were free to live as you saw fit, failure to follow the values of Ma'at risked tipping the scales of judgment against you when your time eventually came. As Ma'at played the strange half-role between goddess and ideology in the Egyptian pantheon, this meant she had very few temples dedicated directly to her. Despite this, however, she was present in almost every element of Egyptian mythology, and in a way, every temple to any god was a celebration of her and the cosmic principles she represented that guided both the immortals and the mortals of ancient Egypt. Her values of truth, justice, harmony and balance were present at all levels of society and would determine laws, religion and even the seasonal cycle of the planet. Although her ancient Egyptian name remains less well known, her symbol and the idea she represents can be found in many other religions and justice systems to this very day.
For how to live life and was essential for getting into the afterlife. This is probably the most well-known aspect of Ma'at, as a kind of framework for how one should behave and speak, which, if followed throughout life, could gain you acceptance into the afterlife. Ma'at is often translated as truth or justice, but one could argue that divine order is really closer to the meaning. In other words, it meant the way the world should be. Some ideas about behavior that was in accordance with Ma'at or against it sound very familiar to modern Western ideas of morality and ethical behavior. For example, things like stealing or falsely accusing someone would be acts that do not belong in the ordered world of Ma'at, while judging fairly and helping people were good behaviors that were in accordance with Ma'at. But while these ideas seem logical and correct to us, we should keep in mind that ancient Egyptian culture and its values can be quite different from our own. For example, another facet of correct behavior within Ma'at that does not sound quite so good to us today is that you shouldn't upset the social order, including not having rich people become poor or poor people become rich. In other words, don't upset the apple cart. So would you measure up to Ma'at? Let me know by answering the poll in the top right-hand corner. Number 2. Ma'at is often shown as a goddess with a feather on her head. While Ma'at is a concept relating to divine order and truth, the ancient Egyptians also personified Ma'at as a goddess, something they often did with concepts. And she's often said to be the daughter of the creator sun god Re. In art, you might see the feather alone to symbolize Ma'at, such as in the weighing of the heart scene, but often you'll see her as a full goddess, in human form, with a feather.
Freedom to move on through the hall to continue its existence in paradise at the field of reeds. No one could escape this eternal judgment. In the Egyptian idea of the afterlife, Ma'at was believed to assist those who adhered to her principles during their life. Worshipping Ma'at as a divine goddess. While Ma'at was respected as an important goddess, the ancient Egyptians dedicated no temples to Ma'at. Nor did she have any official priests. Instead, a modest shrine was consecrated to her and other gods' temples honored Ma'at. The single temple recognized as having been built in her honor by Queen Hatshepsut, 1479 to 1458 BCE, was erected within the god Montu's temple grounds. Egyptians venerated their goddess by simply living their lives in observance to her tenets. Devotional gifts and offerings to her were placed on her shrine set in many temples. According to surviving records, the sole official veneration of Ma'at occurred when a newly crowned Egyptian king offered sacrifices to her. After being crowned, the new king would offer a representation of her to the gods. This act represented the king's request for her assistance in preserving the divine harmony and balance during his reign. Should a king fail to maintain the balance and harmony, it was a clear portent he was unfit to reign. Ma'at thus was crucial a king's successful rule. In the Egyptian pantheon of gods, Ma'at was a significant and universal presence, despite having no priestly cult or dedicated temple. The Egyptian gods were thought to live off Ma'at, and the majority of images showing the king offering Ma'at to Egypt's pantheon of gods upon his coronation were mirror images of those depicting the king presenting wine, food, and other sacrifices to the gods. The gods
What is this video going to be about? This video is going to be about Ma'at energy. who is Ma'at and what is the importance of Ma'at. So one thing we have to realize about Ma'at, right? So she's a precursor to karma. Everyone understands karma, do as unto others as you do unto yourself. Act right and things gonna be right. You know what I mean? Now, Ma'at. Anyone who studies Kemet, who understands Kemetic spirituality, understand that Ma'at, no one to play with. Ma'at is literally one of the Kemetic deities that me personally, I'm like, keep my scales balanced. Now, what does that mean? So, Ma'at is the goddess of truth, justice, and balance, and she is the balancer of the scales. If you know, in the American justice system or in justice systems all over the world, there's always a woman who is blindfolded, who holds the scales, which means to balance of the scales means that justice should, like I said, it should have no eyes. It should be fair all around. But looking through history, we know it's not. Okay, so, just have to throw that out there. But keep in mind, one reason why when it comes to Ma'at that everybody needs to understand is that, do you not understand that when you do people wrong, when you truly do people wrong, and in your heart is wrong, Ma'at is like, oh yeah? For real? Okay, bet. Oh, you want to do that person wrong? You want to create that bad energy? Okay, cool. Say less, because I'm about to bless that person. I'm about to get you for your deeds. I'm about to get you for your deeds because you want to be that bad person. The thing is, this is why it is so important to treat everyone the way you want to be treated. If you have done someone wrong and your life is in a chaotic mode and is in chaos right now, and you always going through it, keep in mind, it's because you have probably done some people wrong. And this is Ma'at balancing your scales. There is a toll that always has to be paid with her. Now, that could be a good thing or that could be a bad thing. If you did, something wrong in the past, you stole some money, you did this, what you think about to happen to you? You think you about to be blessed? You think Ra about to bless you? Ra loves you, but he ain't about to bless you. You about to pay for this. You about to pay your consequences. You have to pay that toll. You know what I mean? And the thing is, this is why I always try to do my best. I'm always trying to do my best and do right by people. I don't steal. I don't kill. I don't cheat. I don't do none of that. I don't do that because there always is a toll that has to be paid. And you'll notice that. If you messing with somebody you're not supposed to be messing with, okay then. Just know you're gonna pay your toll. If you took some money from your mama purse, okay then. Just know you about to pay your toll. And the crazy thing what I've noticed about Ma'at is that when she get back at you, it ain't equal. Like it's almost like negative deeds cost 3, 4, 5 times as much as what you did. I'll be like, bro, for real? That's all I did, bro. Why did you have to have me go through this? You know what I mean? So it's definitely something serious when it comes to this Ma'at energy. Because she what is what I would relate to the Temperance card in the tarot. Temperance, balance. Not too hot but not too cold. And with that being said, you have to understand that the universe is in chaotic order. It is in order. The universe is order. And keep in mind, we are part of the universe, right? So when there becomes a in order to the universe, the Ma'at has to balance those. She has to balance that scale to make the universe back in its divine order. And keep in mind, that's everything. We are part of the universe, so we have to be balanced out. And as well as in the Assyrian resurrection story, or the Egyptian Book of the Dead, you know, it goes into when the Ab travels through the 12 chambers of Duat, it goes to the halls of Amanta, or the halls of justice, where one's heart is weighed against the feather of Ma'at, the truth of Ma'at. And Ma'at's truth is pure truth. There is no hiding. You cannot hide what is in the soul. So what will happen is that if your heart was heavier than Ma'at's feather, then you were eaten by the devourer named Amit. And that was called the second death. Now, from my understanding and how I interpret that, is that the second death means that you are reincarnated and you come back to this world. Because keep in mind, we are the living dead, because the death process does not start